Hello and welcome to UNA Forum Presents, this time 20th UNAFF, United Nations Association Film Festival, which is going to be held in Palo Alto, East Palo Alto, San Francisco, and Stanford University from October 19th to October 29th. We are going to present 60 documentaries from all over the world, and we are thrilled to have 3 filmmakers in our studio. We have Valerie Red Horse Mohl. She's a director and co-producer of the film Mankiller. We have Delnaz Abadi, who is director and producer of the film Secret Fatwa. And we have Daniel Sanchez, who is co-producer and director of the film The Swan. Welcome to our studio, and welcome to United Nations Association Film Festival, the 20th anniversary. So I'm going to start with Valerie and ask Valerie about the woman that a lot of people really didn't know, but now, after your film, I'm sure that a lot of people will know about her history, and particularly about her persistence and her heroism to really lead the Native Americans to the level of being a great politician and being one of the first women in the world to have this wonderful role that you're going to tell us through the film.
Absolutely. Thank you for having us, and thank you for having our film. My film is entitled Mankiller, and it's named after Wilma Mankiller. And originally, we thought it was just going to be a biography about her amazing life. Wilma was the first female elected to be principal chief of the Cherokee Nation, and this was back in the 80s. And the extreme sexism aimed at her was one of the challenges. And her life is just an incredible journey in overcoming obstacles and leading by example and being a servant leader, being a uniter of all people. One of the more interesting parts of her life that is apropos for your festival is that she was brought to San Francisco on a relocation program as a young child and grew up here. And so she worked with the Black Panthers and the women's movement, and said she used to listen to Janis Joplin in the streets, and was part of the Alcatraz takeover. So her life was really framed by that sort of grassroots mentality, and then she brought that back to our Cherokee Nation, where she really made a difference and grew it into the nation that it is now. She laid a lot of the foundations of self-sufficiency and sovereignty and industries and economic development. But what was interesting, as I started to say, is when we started to make the film, and you know my executive producer, Gail Ann Hurd, this is our 3rd film together, and we thought it would be a wonderful biography. But as we kind of peeled the layers back of this story and saw how she refused to use labels, she worked with Democrats and Republicans and independents and men and women and Indians and non-Indians, and she believed that you had to be a servant to the people you were elected by. And we felt now, as we're releasing the film, not only do we want everyone to know about Wilma and her story, but really take her message to heart about let's unite again politically and not have labels and divisiveness. So we think the message is extremely important.
So let's see the clip from the film Mankiller.
This is the story of an American hero, someone who humbly defied the odds, overcame insurmountable obstacles to fight injustice, and gave a voice to the voiceless. This is the story of American legend, Wilma Mankiller.
My own personal perspective is that I'm a pretty ordinary person that just happened to be given an opportunity to do extraordinary things in my life.
When Wilma Mankiller was 10, she and her family were relocated from Cherokee lands in Oklahoma to San Francisco.
Our move to California was part of a relocation program designed to, quote, solve the Indian problem.
It was an act of genocide.
That was the real start of her journey, for better or for worse.
It was in San Francisco during the Civil Rights era that she found her voice and a belief in the power to make change.
Being a bystander to history was not her destiny.
Some folks are born made to wave the flag.
And that's where places like Alcatraz really made a big difference.
It ain't me.
It's always been a struggle to maintain tribal sovereignty. We're under siege. I tell you, it's going to take a fight.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Cherokee Nation Chief of Chiefs, Wilma Mankiller.
Chief Wilma Mankiller in the Cherokee Nation of Oklahoma. Hello!
Women in leadership in eastern Oklahoma are a rare commodity.
Sexism is like racism. It's very dehumanizing.
Even though she faced tragedy in her life, she didn't give up. She is an embodiment of the strength of Cherokee women.
She was determined to let the Cherokee people be on their own without all the bureaucracy of the federal government.
I've done everything I could do to make everybody in the world mad at me this last 4 years. I don't beat around the bush.
Wilma and I are so far apart politically, it's not even humorous. I'm very conservative, and Wilma is very liberal, but I always supported her.
It's a story of meeting adversity time after time and getting up, starting over again, and beginning to rebuild.
I mean, she went from being a street kid in Oakland to being a member of the Ford Foundation.
She was not only the guardian of the centuries-old Cherokee heritage, but a revered leader who built a brighter and healthier future for her nation.
There is no single word to describe Wilma Mankiller.
Activist.
Advocate.
Leader.
Mother. Wife.
Chief.
I really didn't realize until I got older the impact Mom had on not just the Indian people, but the world.
In a just country, she would have been elected president.
We just saw the film, the clip from the film Mankiller, which is going to open the 20th United Nations Association Film Festival. Valerie, talking about Wilma Mankiller is obviously, Mankiller is one of the pleasure listening to her words and also listening to the legacy which inspire all of us. And obviously our film festival has a theme this year, respect. Mm-hmm. So the opening night is going to really start with respect to the Native people. And something that I really would love to know from your perspective, interviewing younger people, younger Native American people, what they know about Wilma Mankiller.
You know, a lot of young Native people don't know that much about Wilma Mankiller. They're pretty much like everyone else who maybe know the name, have heard it, but don't know the story. So that's why we're thrilled to be opening your film festival and really to be able to screen broadly around the United States and then on PBS in March. We really want everyone to get a chance to know who she was and what she stood for. And when you talk about respect, she respected everyone around her, even her opponents, and we all learned some lessons from her. And when you talk about respect, I have to just add that what an honor it was for me to be able to interview Gloria Steinem in her living room and just get to know her a little bit too, because she was very close friends with Wilma. So I think respect is a perfect theme for us to open your festival, and I really appreciate it.
Mm-hmm. And talking about respect and talking about different cultures around the world, we do have for our 20th United Nations Association Film Festival a filmmaker from Iran. Delnaz Abadi is here with us, and she's going to be also with us during the film festival. Thank you, Delnaz, for bringing this very provocative, a very historically not so much known issue about secret Fatwa. Tell us, how did you get to the idea to present the film and interview all the people and the subjects?
First of all, thank you so much. It's such an honor to be part of this tremendous festival with such great filmmakers and diversity of films. So the film that I'm presenting is called The Secret Fatwa, and it's about a prison massacre in Iran, massacre of political prisoners. The film is very dear to me, the subject, and I actually learned filmmaking so that I can tell this story. And it's because, you know, those who were murdered, among them were my friends. I know the survivors, and I know the family members who lost several of their relatives. And the story starts in the summer of 1988, where these political prisoners, thousands of them, were serving their prison sentences. They were there some as long as 7 years. Suddenly prisons go into lockdown, families are desperate, they have no news. 5 months later, they're given a bag and told their prisoner was executed. No explanation, no body, no grave. And so when especially the stories of the families and the fact that until today, they are searching for answers. And that the government of Iran got away with this horrendous murder by lying and by denying, and nobody has kept them accountable. That was pretty a strong motivation for me to learn filmmaking and try to tell this story in a palpable way, so that people can put themselves in the shoes of those who walked the long hallways to the gallows, family members. And with respect to the subject of this year's festival, I think respect, what I want to get through is that every life should be respected. Every life that's taken, I mean, you would see in this film, every person who's executed is somebody's son, somebody's mother, somebody's father. So I hope that, I can take this message and also have some accountability for this horrendous murder.
So let's see the clip for the documentary, The Secret Fatwa.
It was an extraordinary period in our lives. Political prisoners were all set free. Dozens of political groups emerged. For my generation who had never experienced freedom, this was a dream come true. But our dream was short-lived.
The imposition of Islamic law here has started with an order to women to cover their heads in government offices.
Day and night, guards roamed the streets, hunting for activists. Even the possession of a leaflet became a crime. I dreaded reading newspapers. Every day, a new list. Mihan and I were among the lucky ones. We went underground and escaped arrest. Reza was not as fortunate.
مهم این بودش که این زندانی زنده است. برای پسرم قصه باباشو که میگفتم سنا حالا میاد و ما مثلا با هم این کار رو میکنیم این کار رو میکنیم.
ما شنیدیم که ملاقات‌ها تا اطلاع ثانوی قطعه.
حس این رو داشتیم که اتفاقی میخواد بیفته ولی نمیدونستیم چه اتفاقی.
نجوه‌ها مختلف بود. انتقال به گوهردشته.
اعدام کردن.
دیدم یه پاسداری روی دری داشت صدا رنگ گرفت.
فضای مرگ رو بدون اینکه بیان شده باشه احساس کردم.
مطمئن شدم که مسئله قتل عامه.
حسن کجاست؟ نیست. تقی کجاست؟ نیست. اونا به همین سادگی نبودن، به همین سادگی که ما بودیم.
That was a clip from the documentary, The Secret Fatwa, which is going to be screened on October 28th, and it's going to be also part of our very special panel. We have 7 panels during our film festival, and this panel is going to be about prisons in the United States and around the world, and talking about rehabilitation or prison as a retribution. So, Delnaz, it's interesting to see the difficulties for the people to talk about the issue. So, and then some of them, obviously, they have a family who were killed, and putting the camera in front of them and asking them to talk about these issues. Tell us a little bit about the process, please.
Well, many years has passed. Of course, it took a while for the survivors to get released, and it took a while for them to get out of the country. And then it was very painful for them to recall what has happened, but they did. They felt an obligation to those who were not with us anymore. They started talking, they started writing books, and some of them are in front of the camera for the first one. Like, there's one survivor who was 15 years old when she was arrested. It was the first time she was talking in front of the camera. But, you know, I think because I'm from the same background and I know what happened, and I was lucky I fled, so I could gain their trust. And the families, for them, I think this is actually perhaps a gift I can give to the families, so they can pursue their quest for justice and to get answers.
Mm-hmm.
So the families, the ones who are in Iran, of course, they can talk. It's a taboo to talk about it in Iran. But those who are abroad, they are pretty willing to talk and tell their stories.
Mm-hmm. So Daniel, in your case, is also bringing a story of the family, actually trying to help transgender person to get to herself, and also to bring connection between the United States and Mexico, and bring also connection between her wishes and her family wishes.
Mm-hmm. So first of all, thanks Jasmina for having me here on the show, and also I'm also very grateful for being able to show my film at the UNAFF Film Festival. The film is about Stephanie Galante, who is a Mexican trans woman who decided to migrate to the United States after experiencing discrimination and abuse at her hometown of Mixquiahuala, Hidalgo, in the center of Mexico. And after spending 6 years here in the United States, she decides to go back home to confront her parents about her gender identity. I first came across with the story of Stephanie when I first arrived to the United States, and I realized that there were so many trans women working on the Bay Area. And for me that was impressive, because in Mexico there is still a huge stigma against them. So I did my research, and I started to visit a couple of organizations on the Bay Area that deal with trans women that migrate to the United States, and I came across with ELA para Translatines, which is an organization that gives shelter, medical care, and also legal consultation for people who just arrived to the Bay Area. And one day, during one of my visits, I came across with Stephanie, and I was very grateful to met her because she was gonna go on this journey to confront her family, and then we started to follow her, and I think that through this experience, she got the acceptance, the love, and the respect from her family again.
So let's see the clip from the documentary, The Swan.
Mis papás nunca me han visto como Stephanie. Nunca han visto que Miguel Salvador está cambiada como Stephanie, y es la primera vez que ellos me van a ver.
Bueno.
Hola, papá.
Hola.
Ya estoy un poquito nerviosa porque voy para allá.
Nervioso.
Bueno, nerviosa. Todavía no te acostumbras entonces.
Ni me voy a acostumbrar.
¿Y ya me quiere ver o no me quiere ver?
Pues sí, hijo.
Yo siento que ya aguanté tanta cosa a veces, tanta discriminación, que aguantaría también que me dijeran que no. Yo la aguantaría. o que no me quisieran, sí lo aguantaría también.
This was a clip from the documentary The Swan, which is going to be presented in our last day on October the 29th for the 20th United Nations Association Film Festival. Daniel, from the film, we saw obviously that Stephanie is very comfortable in front of the camera. It's her life. She's a performer. But how about the family? How did you actually get this deal with the family? They're comfortable, not comfortable talking in front of a camera?
Yeah, so actually Stephanie's family already knew that we were going to come with cameras and we were going to record this important event in her life, right? Mm-hmm. But I think still the first time that we just came across the door and we saw her mom and there was this huge embrace for Stephanie, I think they were kind of nervous about what was going to happen. I think we were also a little bit uncertain because we already developed this friendship with Stephanie, filming here in the United States, and then when we went to this journey to Mexico, we weren't sure if they were gonna just close the door at us in her homes or maybe also to her. So, but I think in a way we also were her support and her shield. And after this, I feel that now she has passed this weight that she was carrying, and now she has become a leader in the trans-Latina community here in the Bay Area.
Mm-hmm. And talking about the Bay Area and the community that Stephanie is working with, so what are the nonprofit organizations that are supporting her?
So she actually works for ELA para Translatinas, which is an organization that is located in San Francisco. She is the outreach coordinator, so she basically tries to get more members to come to ELA, and also she tries to go to places that are a little bit marginalized, where they don't have they have uncertain jobs, and she tries also to reach out to them and also tell them that, well, ELA is a family to the transgender community in San Francisco, so actually trying to invite them to the program to join.
So we hope actually that Stephanie is going to join us with Daniel and also the members of the nonprofit organization that she is supporting and working with. So our film festival, United Nations Association Film Festival, is really trying not only just to be a marketplace, because we are not Cannes Film Festival or Sundance, we are actually a community organized and educative film festival and trying to reach as many community organizations as we can. So Valerie and Delnaz, also in your situation, what are the organizations that you would like to invite and bring the issue that you're talking about from your film to the community?
Well, I think what is exciting for us is we're actually screening in Congress in a few weeks. And so we feel that when we look at Wilma's legacy and her message, it's not just to Native Americans, it's to everyone about really uniting politically. And so we've got an organization that's bringing everyone to see it called She Should Run, meaning if you have an issue with the divisiveness in our country right now, then get involved and let's make a difference like Wilma did. So really our message is one of action and a call to action to get back to a united country.
Wonderful. And Delnaz, in your case?
Well, in our case, 30 years have passed, but international law has come a long way. So the hope is that this film could be a tool for families and human rights activists that are working towards establishing an international tribunal, like the one for Rwanda, Cambodia, Sierra Leone. And so I would very much like to, it is in our plan of distribution to send a copy of the film to any human rights organization that would be interested in this subject, also universities, and yeah.
So, and we do help our filmmakers to get the word around. We would like to invite, obviously, our audience to learn about all these wonderful films during the festival. And also, after the festival, we do have our website, which is unaff.org. Our filmmakers, they have their film page. So how to reach them is the way how you pursue your interest in the subjects that we just presented. Talking about that, the social media is something that I'm sure you're all using. So what are the plans about social media and how you can enrich?
Yeah, so for example, in our case, we have a Facebook page, which is El Cisne/documentary, and in there we actually announce all of the film festivals that we have been showing or screening the film. We also have a Twitter account, but we just don't use it that often. It's El Cisne Documentary, and yeah, it's a great way in order to reach other communities.
Yeah, the Secret Fatwa also has a web page and a Facebook page, and since the film was finished just in April, so now it's time, it'll become more active, both sides.
Valerie, I'm sure you're busy as well with the social media.
I think we have everything. It's mankillerdoc.com is our webpage, and then it also has links to our Twitter and our Facebook. And one of the things that's interesting is we're airing during National Women's History Month. And so we have a whole campaign going on our website for women to talk about women leaders they respect and just actually empowering women overall.
So we really wish you all the best with your wonderful and amazing films, and we're going to see you at the festival. So this was our UNA Forum Presents for the 20th United Nations Association Film Festival and our 20th anniversary. See you at the festival.
Thank you.